Storm's Elites, you have been acknowledged. Metal Driver here, and today I am doing a massive review of the Attitude Era Ultimate Edition Kane and the Collector Scale Attitude Era Ring. As you can see, this box is massive, and we get this beautiful front cover of Kane in his inverted attire. In fact, we get 3 images of the figure posed, which look really nice. The back, we see features of the ring and the figure, some information on Kane, and this beautiful image of Kane in his inverted attire, which I am an absolute sucker for. I've always loved this look. So that is the big box that we see. And then upon opening it up, we get the Ultimate Kane in the box that is intact, and we can pull that out. We get this nice image of Kane on the front, this cool image on the back, along with some information. Now I will say I do not like this coverless box right here, or I should say this windowless box. I'm not a fan of Hasbro doing that, even though I don't really collect much of Hasbro. I think I saw somewhere online that Mattel is not going to be doing this. This is just for the Attitude Era Kane. Hopefully that is the case. I prefer seeing a window and seeing the figure, so that way I can pick out the ones with the best paint apps when I'm buying in store, but I digress. We've seen the boxes, they look really nice. Now let's go ahead and open this figure up and take a closer look at the big red machine. And here we get a 360 look at Kane in all of his 1999 and 2000 glory. Features some nice detail. It comes with a few accessories that include: he comes with interchangeable open hands, so that way you can do his Kane pose or do the choke slam. Here we get an alternate head sculpt with the hair slicked back. This is not brand new. We saw this with the previous Ultimate Edition Kane, but this one has the inverted colors, and it is painted very well. I think it looks good. I don't see anything that's majorly mispainted or sloppy, which is good because the first run of the Ultimate Edition Kane, that one had some QC issues on the paint. Mainly the mask up here was not fully painted, but this one looks good. Mask is sculpted well, and it does look glossy, which I like that. I think that works, especially for this version of Kane. Hair sculpted really well. That looks nice. And here we get a closer look at the head sculpt that's already on the figure. Again, not brand new. We saw this with the previous Ultimate Kane. Again, this one has the inverted colors, painted pretty well from what I can see. I don't see anything that's majorly mispainted or sloppy. Maybe a little bit of sloppiness here around the open part near the nose. Could have used some extra black. But aside from that, it looks really good. It is glossier than the original head sculpt, which I'm fine with because I do believe the mask was glossy around this time. And here's just a side-by-side look of the two Ultimate Kanes. So yeah, you can see the black on the original one, a little more matted, whereas the new one has that glossy look. Like how that turned out. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and put him next to the original Elite Kane with the inverted colors, and yeah, this is a major improvement over that previous head sculpt. The rest of the head is sculpted really well, hair is sculpted nicely, looks good, just one solid color on the hair. Would have been nice to get some shading in there, but still looks good. Then looking at the upper body, again, as I keep saying, this is the inverted look. So instead of all red with black, we get all black with red. So as you can see the difference there, and you also notice there's a difference here on the chest. See, this version of Kane back in late 1999, and he wore this all the way up until the summer of 2000. He had this exposed chest part here where there was mesh, and they actually sculpted that on this Kane, which I love. Thank you, Mattel, for doing that and not going the lazy route, which they could have easily have done. Just used the old molding and painted that differently, but instead they gave us a new sculpt here. So we have that exposed part, which again, I appreciate because the original Elite version did not have that. So that was something that I was always disappointed with this figure because it was inaccurate, whereas this one, it is accurate. Now, I would have liked it if they maybe have painted this red a little bit closer to a flesh tone instead of the red that they chose to give it more of that mesh look, but I still think it looks nice. Paint on the reds look good. The rest of the body is black, as I mentioned. The red flames painted very well. I don't see anything sloppy or mispainted. The buttons here are painted well. They look good, so I like that. Just look at the side, a little bit of missing red paint there. We get that mesh part here on the back side, which looks good. That looks really nice. Painted well all over the top. That looks really good. Here we see the arms. I think they look nice. Pinless double jointed elbows. Gauntlet here looks good. Silver is painted pretty well. Same thing over here, although they could have used a lighter color, maybe an extra coat of paint. That looks a bit dull compared to the first Ultimate figure, so that kind of sucks, but again, not the end of the world. So far, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. See some silvers on the belt. Kind of dull like the other silver parts, but it still looks nice. Taking a look at the lower body, he's got black legs with red Flames, which is painted pretty well, looks pretty good. Could have maybe used an extra coat of paint right there on the hip, but everything else looks nice, painted well. Same thing on the other side, which is cool. This is a difference in the attire aside from the colors. The original attire that Kane wore had laces on the side and not the flames on both sides. So that looks really nice, painted well. And then looking at the boots, and they are actually glossy. That is cool, that is great, that is accurate. Because again, the original Ultimate Kane did not have glossy boots. This one does, so kudos to you, Mattel, for giving us glossy boots. They look nice, one solid color, feet are pretty standard, and they look pretty good. And now for the articulation on Ultimate Kane, the head is on a ball joint, it looks not that high up. Can look slightly down, can turn side to side, and tilt very well. Shoulder goes that high up, a bit stiff on mine. It rotates all the way around. There's a bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Not the best range there. His bicep is way too big. Swivel and a hinge at the wrist. Butterfly joints. Great range there. A ball joint at the diaphragm. He crunches that far forward. Goes that far back. He can tilt pretty well. Waist swivel. Legs go that far out. They go that high up. Thigh cut. Double jointed knees, great range there. A cut at the top of the boot, ankle goes that high up, that far down. He has some slight ankle pivot and some toe articulation. And unfortunately, he does not have the drop-down hips that the new Ultimate figures have. We did see the drop-down hips with Ultimate Brock Lesnar and Ultimate Warrior, and it sucks that this one doesn't have it. I'm going to assume that it's because they reused the legs from the previous Ultimate Kane, which sucks, because if any figure needed drop-down hips, it was definitely Ultimate Kane, because that way we can put him in a perfect big boot pose, and it sucks that he does not have that. Doesn't ruin the figure. It just would have been nice to have drop-down hips. And here we have the new Ultimate Edition Attitude Era Kane with the inverted attire next to the original Elite version, and this new Ultimate figure is a huge improvement over the original, so now that one can just finally go away. Here is the new Ultimate Kane next to the first Ultimate Kane figure, and I'm digging the new one. Personally, I think I prefer this new one over the old one, but that's just me. And finally, here he is next to Legends X-Pac, which looks great next to this Kane, especially since they wore this attire when they teamed up back in late 1999. I really enjoyed their short-lived tag team. I especially loved their remixed entrance theme song that merged Kane's intro with the DX theme. So if you have not heard that, go check that out on YouTube. It's a really awesome theme song. So these two would certainly look great in photography or posed on your shelf. Alright, so now we're at the part of the video where I'm going to show you the Raw is War ring. Now, I'm going to have to assemble this, and I'm not going to do it on camera because that's just going to take way too long. But here are all the parts to the ring. We've got turnbuckle posts, the mat, the ropes, the turnbuckles, everything we need here. And here are the instructions that show you how to assemble this. Now I'm going to do this off camera, so that way I'm not doing this all on camera for God knows how long.
3:28 a.m.
Alright, and here's the Raw is War ring all set up, and it took me approximately 30 minutes to assemble this. It was mainly due to the canvas. It was kind of tricky. I was a bit worried that I might rip it, and then to a lesser extent the floorboards gave me slight trouble. But after that, once I set up the floorboards, the canvas, everything else was pretty much easy to put together, and this ring is great. It looks amazing. Really happy with how this turned out. You can see Kane in the ring standing, and it scales pretty well. Now this ring is slightly smaller, and I say slightly, than the Wicked Cool Toys authentic scale ring. Now I've been using that as my Raw is War ring for a few years now, and I like how this one looks. The detailing on the ring looks a lot better. The mat is smoother than the Wicked Cool Toys one. And if you're wondering about that version of the ring, that is the one that is used for the AEW line for their big scale ring. The turnbuckle on the Wicked Cool Toys is a plastic turnbuckle, whereas the turnbuckles on this new Raw is War ring is a soft material. It looks good. Now if you have the new generation ring, you should probably know what to expect with this one. Pretty much going to be the same thing, with the exception of it being the Raw is War ring ring with the red ropes, the black turnbuckles, different apron, different turnbuckle posts, but the basic materials are pretty much the same. Now, one thing that I did notice is that this ring does not have that tag team rope on the ends of the turnbuckles, whereas the Wicked Cool Toys one does, so that's a little bit of detail that is missing on this. So just as an FYI, the apron on this one has a better material than the one that you would find on the Wicked Cool Toys. This one feels a little bit nicer, whereas the Wicked Cool Toys does feel a little bit cheaper in comparison. This Raw's War ring also comes with some steel steps that are black. The detail look pretty nice. I like how this looks. Now this is pretty much, at least to me, it looks like the steps that we've seen with the other rings, like the Wicked Cool Toys, so looks nice. I'm glad it's there. To me, this ring looks amazing. It is a huge improvement over the other rings that I have, especially that Raw's War one. I liked that old one. It served a great purpose, but now this one is obviously going to be my go-to ring for the Attitude Era, so I'm really happy with this purchase. For me, it was worth it. But with that being said, is it worth getting if you already have the new generation ring? Well, for me, that's the problem. See, I want to recommend this because the ring is great. The Ultimate Edition Kane is phenomenal. I love this Kane figure. I absolutely love this attire choice. I love the detail that they added with the chest piece. But to spend, what was it, $150 on an Ultimate Edition Kane when there are going to be people that don't want the ring? Yeah, I don't know if I could recommend that. See, I saw a lot of people complaining when this went up for pre-order. They were upset that they didn't have an option to buy the Kane separately or buy the apron and rope pieces separately, because I can fully understand people not wanting to buy another ring when they just bought the new generation ring and they could easily just swap parts if they could. So unfortunately, I could see a lot of people skipping out on this just for that simple reason. Maybe they might not have room, or just that's a lot of money to spend on another ring. So honestly, that kind of sucks. I wish Mattel didn't do that. I think that's a little bit greedy on their part. I think it would have been nice if they had given the option to buy Kane separately, or at least the pieces to make your own Raw's War ring with the new generation parts. That would have been nice. So I can understand people skipping out on this, not spending the money on this. But if you did not get the new generation ring, like myself, and you've got the money to spend, then I say yeah, it's worth getting. Because the ring is amazing, Kane is amazing. So if you are interested in this, unfortunately it's sold out on Ringside. So if you didn't pre-order, you missed out on getting it on that website. However, Mattel announced that they will be putting this up on Mattel Creations' website on January 4th, so if you are interested in getting this, you can get it through Mattel Creations. Now, as of this recording, I don't know if they're going to give an option to just get Kane alone. Would be nice if they did. I think that would honestly be the best option, especially for collectors. It really sucks if people miss out on this simply because they can't justify getting another ring, which I can totally understand. But I think the ring is great, Kane is great. And you know what else would be great? If you hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to check out my latest WWE reviews, click on the card at the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.